Good morning. This is Anna Imagination with the Subconscious Dialogues. Every time I load the Subconscious Dialogues, I get to stare at that red curtain. And it was funny because when I was designing the graphic for it, I wanted a stage with a microphone. And I couldn't find the one that just aligned to my frequency. And that's it. Everything we do in life either aligns to your frequency or it doesn't. That's why things feel good or they don't. It's really amazing when you reach this level of conscious awareness where you understand. That's why I say things like, that doesn't vibe well with me. Oh, they've got bad energy. And if we learn to live our entire lives with this concept that everything is about your frequency and you just finding your frequency, that's your identity. And then you tuning into that frequency and making sure everything in your life aligns to your identity, that frequency, now you can manifest. And it's amazing because it's pictures, it's images, it's colors, it's names, it's feelings, it's everything. It's everything. I did the Witch's Corner this morning, and then I went over to Meditation for Beginners. And one of the things that I do is lead through example. I can't just teach. I have to set an example. I have to be a responsible adult and set an example. And I'm sitting here preaching and teaching all of these people about becoming and embracing their identity. But I can't just do that because that's hypocritical for me because of my ethics. I have to show you. I have to hold myself accountable. Now, I know all of my identity because I used to have multiple personality disorder, which means that I had to sit down with every one of my parts and coach every one of my separate identities back to health, and then I could integrate them, which is where I am now. I'm integrated. But every time I feel something, I have conscious awareness where I can go, that's imagination, or that's Kalan, or that's Bergen. And they need their own space. Not that my identities and their personalities all need their own space, not anymore. But if I don't give stage and space to explore all the parts of me, then I'm not okay. None of us are okay because then somebody's being suppressed somewhere. And that is the goal of the healing garden, to unsuppress me. But while I'm unsuppressing me, I'm going to also teach you how to live like this. While I'm also teaching you how to live like this, I'm also working towards world peace, and I'm dead serious about that. I do want to talk about world peace, but not right now. Right now, I want to talk about, I see you. I see you. I learned the words from Karen Marie Moning, my favorite living author. I have many favorite authors. Many. So many. Karen Marie Moning. So when I was Karen Marie Moning, Moning. I'm going to tell you about Karen. When I became an author, I wanted to study all the genres. So there was a time period where all the best-selling authors, all the bestsellers, the New York Times best-selling list, I sat there and I went through that list and I did all of it. I read everything. I made sure I read every genre. I am huge on understanding who I am. I'm a Taurus, so I have a buffet table. And if you sit there and say, I'm only going to try the lettuce, you're never going to know if you like meat. So you have to try all the things without fear to determine what you like. That is identity. You have to try all the things. That's why I went on 60 dates in a year in New York City. It's because I wanted to try all the men and women. I wanted to see what I liked. It was very empowering. In my next lesson, sex and nonconformist lifestyles, I'm going to be diving deep into that one, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, and I'm eager, which means I'm healthy. So during this period of my life, when I was dissecting all of these different books, I got into the romance section. Now, I'm going to tell you about books. I love Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare like I love water. And if you know me, I'm a mermaid. I really love water. My brain requires Shakespeare. I need him. I really need him. His words. They will be tattooed on my body. To thine own self be true, which was my compass. He was my first compass. When you are lost in the storm of your darkness, when you don't know who you are, you need a compass and you need a beacon of light that shines out at you and says, come find me. That is your identity. That was my Shakespeare. It was the words, to thine own self be true. And that remained my compass the entire time I was in the dark. In fact, there was this one time, it was about 2 years ago. No, it was about a year ago. It was when I was trying to figure out my sexuality. So I was with another man, and I was just not feeling good about any of it because it was off of the vibrational frequency of my identity. And I didn't understand what was going on because I had not yet figured out that you have a frequency that's like your vibrational core that is your identity. And so I decided to leave because it didn't feel good. As I was walking out the door, I saw a Post-it note right on his door that said, to thine own self be true. And I went, damn it. Damn it. And I stopped and I said to him, what is that? And he goes, oh, that's a reminder that I always have to be true to myself. And I went, yeah, the universe speaks in mysterious ways, doesn't it? And the universe does. The universe does speak to us very, very, very loudly. In fact, if you're stubborn like me, the universe gets bitchy. I have this ongoing conversation with the universe that goes like this. You're so bossy. And she says, well, you're so stubborn. And I say, bitch. And we have that conversation like 10 times every day. You're so bossy. Well, you're stubborn. We deserve each other. The universe and I, oh yes. Took me a very long time to figure out what the universe was. That is my secret. That I will not disclose. I will just continue to call it the universe. And when you get to your knowing, when you get to your belonging, and when you get to your authority, come find me. Come find me. I will only give my time to people who are in the belonging, in the knowing, and in the authority. They're the ones who get to consult with me. I like that rule. That feels good to me. Oh, my whole system just purred. Yes, my system loves that. My system's a cat because that's my spirit animal. I'm a cat. So getting back to Karen Marie Moning, I was reading books and I said, I have to read all the books and I love Shakespeare. And I love Terry Pratchett. And I love Jules Verne. Oh my God, and I love Victor Hugo. You can see the caliber of books I read. Tolkien. My God, did I love Silmarillion. Silmarillion is my favorite book. With their whips of flames, they smote us under the webs of Engoliant. Now that is beauty to me. Lolita, fire of my light. My soul, my love, my life, fire of my loins. Lolita. Vladimir Nabokov. Yossarian had decided that he was going to live forever or die trying. Catch-22, Joseph Heller, is easily one of my favorites. Reading Catch-22 was like watching the entire show MASH in slow motion. Oh, I loved Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo and Hawkeye Pierce were identical. I loved Yossarian so much. I love Hawkeye Pierce so much. That man, That man makes me laugh. There's warmth in the world again. I can feel it. I have lived in the darkness for so long that I never thought I would see the light of day again. There were days I was in my storm and I did not believe that the sunlight existed anymore. There were days I lost my sunlight and I swear it was gone forever. And I became bitter and I became angry and I hated the world because it took away my sunlight from me. I stepped out of the book of intellect and I entered the world of romance novels. I hated romance novels. They drip with the patriarchy. I hate romance novels. One caught my eye. I read, I think, 30 romance novels that month. Literally. Now, I need a minute. Diana Gabaldon, The Outlander. Holy fucking shit. I'm not too crazy about the movies. The movies were good, and then they kind of it was around the time that the second season, I really hated where AMC took Outlander. But the books, oh my fucking God. I read Outlander for the history and the medical, because that's all it is. When you get into the books are like medical and history. And when you get into the movies, it's romance. And I'm like, no, the medical and the history. So I prefer the books because of the medical and the history. Oh my God, I love Diana Gabaldon. And there's no patriarchy. I mean, there's some, but there's a lot that's not. So I can enjoy Diana Gabaldon. It's like, well, I'm just going to say it. It's romance novels for the intellect. That's Diana Gabaldon. And when I stepped into AMC, I'm just like, no, people, you have way too much romance, toxic romance happening. Ew. But I wanted to know, well, the genres. And romance novels is not a genre. It is like 60 different genres in one genre. So I had to read all the romance novels. I did not enjoy it. I did find some joy because after reading Shakespeare and Jules Verne, it was a really nice little trip through the park. I was like, okay, I want to read, but I don't want to be like reading. Reading Shakespeare is like chewing a steak. I can't think about that anymore. Wow. Oh, wow. That bothered me. Frequency. So, wow, I don't even like the memory of eating meat anymore. I'm going to have to like haven that shit out. So that being said, I discovered Karen Marie Moning. This stuck out at me because it was time travel. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. Outlander. You see a theme, okay? I like time travel, okay? So this was time travel romance novels where these women were being dropped in the middle of the 15th and 16th century Scotland, just like Outlander. Stay with me. I'm noticing a theme. You know, it's funny. Speaking of Outlander, is Doctor Who has my favorite doctor is Doctor Number 2, Patrick. Oh, I loved Patrick. Cannot remember Patrick's last name. I did a lot of, Patrick. Patrick was the actor who played the second Doctor. He was a comedian. Oh my God, did I love Patrick. The second Doctor is my favorite Doctor. I'm huge into classic Who. The best way I can describe the second Doctor, let me explain. I'm gonna like do a whole like diversion with Doctor Who here for a minute. So when you get into the world of Doctor Who, basically William, the first Doctor, came in and he ran the show for 3 years. It was instant. Well, it wasn't instant success. They ran the show and then Kennedy died and the show was like dragging and they decided to bring in Terry I don't remember anyone's last name, and I don't know why. But Terry came in and he created the Daleks, and it completely changed the way they did Doctor Who. And they re-aired it because of Kennedy's death, and boom, it literally went viral overnight. Literally, it went viral. Doctor Who became an overnight sensation, and that's all she wrote. So William Hartnell, that's his name, William Hartnell, he did Doctor Who for 3 years, and he was suffering from a medical condition. I think it was cerebral palsy, where his hand shook and he couldn't remember his lines and he started stuttering. Medically, he was shutting down, and they had to let the actor go. Well, his mentality was, well, you can't take the show from me. I am Doctor Who. And that is when the writers came up with a concept. Well, the Doctor's an alien. How about if we just regenerate him and we bring in a different actor? That is why and how Doctor Who was able to sustain over 60 years of television. So William Hartnell did not take this news well, but they brought in Patrick, the second actor, to play the Doctor, and they regenerated. The body passed away and the Doctor came back to life, the second Doctor. The first 4 Doctors have their own personalities. You have William Hartnell, who's very logical, very cold, very meticulous. You have Patrick, who's very warm, silly, goofy, really silly. He's a clown. He's the child of the Doctor's personalities. And then you have Peter. Peter was clever. Boy, Peter was clever. Peter was the Sherlock Holmes. Oh my God, was he fucking clever. He was sharp. And then there's Tom Baker. Tom Baker defined the role. Tom Baker, everyone up to that point was 3 years, 2 years. But when they got Tom Baker was in the role for 14, I think it was 14 years. So if you live in Great Britain, if you live in England, and you turn on Doctor Who, you are probably going to watch Tom Baker, which is why 99% of Brits who love Doctor Who say, I love Tom Baker. I told you, I love Doctor Who. I'm a super fan. After Tom Baker, something happened. You get to see the actors emanate their favorite actor and adopt the personality of one of the first 4 originals. So the 5th Doctor based his character off of the 3rd Doctor, and the 6th Doctor based his character off of the 1st Doctor. And Matt Smith, I love Matt Smith. Matt Smith based his personality and his Doctor off of the 2nd Doctor, which is why my favorite Doctor is number 2 and number 11, Matt Smith. Because when I got to Matt Smith, it was like I got to watch Patrick all over again. And I was so happy because Matt Smith was the only Doctor to go, I'm going to honor the 2nd Doctor. I'm just so happy. I love this about him. There is, when this time period existed, it was the 1960s, 1963. Star Trek original series released in 1966 for reference. So 1963, Doctor Who is released. And they were short on funds and budgeting. So to recycle, they would literally record over the tapes. So they would put the recording in, they would record the show, and then after 6 weeks, they would record over it and recycle the tapes. We lost a lot. Now, there's some true fans who really hunted down each and every episode and uploaded them. And during my Doctor Who phase, I hunted them all down, tracked them all down, and watched every one of them except one arc. One arc I could not get my hands onto. That arc was called The Highlander. I still have not seen it. The Highlander was a 3 to 5 episode arc when the 2nd Doctor meets Jamie. Jamie was played by Fraser Hines. Do you see where I'm going with this? Fraser Hines was the actor who played Jamie from Doctor Who, the Highlander arc. Let's fast forward 40 years. Diana Gabaldon, a huge Doctor Who fan, writes the Outlander series. And in Ode to Jamie Fraser Hines, she names the character James Fraser. Jamie Fraser. Doctor Who. You're welcome. Like I said, huge nerd, huge Doctor Who nerd. Like, I know shit, which is probably why I like Diana Gabaldon, is because she's like all about the Doctor Who shit. And I think it was the 7th book she mentions the TARDIS, and I just gushed. I'm like, ah! So I'm going to calm that down. I got my hands on Karen Marie Moning's The Highlander series. A time-traveling woman who goes back in time to the Highland of Scotland, and she falls in love with a boorish asshole rogue. And that theme continues with all of her books. But there's a lot happening. There's a lot where she plugs into the Irish myths, the Scottish myths, and now I'm interested. So after about, I think it was 8 books, maybe 11 books, she then breaks off into this urban fantasy, which HBO and Netflix have kicked around for plots for a very long time. And I'm sitting here biting my nails going, do it, do it, do it. I don't know why they haven't done it yet. But her urban fantasy is basically shit hitting the fan in modern day Ireland. And the two ether worlds merge so that the Fey world merges in with the human realm. Oh, yeah, it's intense shit. Why am I telling you all this? There's a reason why. Oh, yes. There is a character named Danny. There is a character named Danny. Now, this is the time period where I did nothing but listen to these books, these audiobooks, for 3 years. So for 3 years, I just listened to Diana Gabaldon's Outlander and then Karen Marie Moning, both of which were done with the Irish and the Scottish accent. It does not help that Berrigan speaks in an accent as well. So if I start switching over, that's why, because it's literally 3 years of just this accent in my head when I was listening to the Audible books. So, and I can feel it coming out. I can hear it. So there's a character named Donnie, and Donnie in the urban fantasy goes missing, and then she comes back. And when she comes back, she has a hellcat for a pet. I love this hellcat so much. This hellcat's my favorite character. This hellcat, whenever they have an argument, whenever they want to say, I love you, they say instead, I see you. I see you. And it hit me real hard when I heard those words. I see you. It hurt me so much, hit me so much that I started to study the psychology of I see you. And that brings me to you. Our subconscious minds are so loud and so obnoxious that they take over everything, and then there's nothing that you can get to because it's all going through the subconscious mind. And you have this beautiful identity that's just buried and destroyed and hidden underneath the subconscious mind. And it's getting destroyed by some. It's being protected by others. It's just being thrown away constantly. And every time we scream, every time we speak, every time we feel like we're drowning, it's because the identity has been made invisible by the subconscious mind. And every time I sit down to talk to somebody, the conversation will go sideways, and suddenly I'm having a conversation with someone's subconscious mind. And I'm going, why am I talking to your abuser? I don't want to talk to your abuser. I want to talk to you. There's a difference. And I can see the difference. It is my dream to show everyone what I see. So this is my dream. I'm horribly alone. And I'm tired of being alone. I am tired of seeing the world a way that no one else can see. And maybe my response to that loneliness is creating the healing garden and just showing you, look, this is what I see. And I'm lonely. And I'm tired of not being able to communicate with anybody because they can't see what I see. So I'm going to show you what I see. Step into the books with me. I will show you what I see. Because what I see is your subconscious mind that's been completely taken and hijacked by your abuser. And it's doing all the loud, obnoxious, ugly talking for you. And then you've got your identity, who's really you. And that's what I want to get a hold of. That's who I want to see. But your subconscious mind gets in the way too much. So when I'm talking to a person, I want their dreams. I want their wishes. I want their loves. I don't want to hear about their fears or what they want to control. I steer the conversation on purpose away from fear, and I talk about, what do you love? Where do you wish you could be? What's your dream job? I don't want to hear about what you do work, because what you do for work is what your subconscious told you to do. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about what you really want to do. I want to hear about your passion. I want to hear about your creativity. I want to hear about what you love. What are your hobbies? That is you. That's what I want to talk to. That is what I see. When I see you, I see you. I'm talking directly to the subconscious mind. And I'm saying, get the fuck out of my way. I'm here for identity. And I do it all the time. Every time I talk to anybody, they'll spout off some bullshit. And I just go, I don't talk to subconscious minds. I don't do it. I talk to identities only. You tell me what you want. You tell me what you desire. You tell me what you feel. That is the subconscious mind. That's the identity talking. The subconscious mind talks in terms of fear and hate and anger and rage. Fear and control. I have no tolerance for that garbage because I know it's not you, it's your abuser. I don't want to talk to your abuser. Your abuser is a narcissistic piece of shit. Mine was too. All abusers are. And your subconscious mind mirrors your abuser to keep you safe because your subconscious mind, who's really stupid, thinks that it has to create an environment to maintain your abuser even after your abuser is gone. See how that works? So the subconscious mind is really stupid. And it just sits there in the middle of this thing. And it just brings out this environment. Okay, guys. Abuser A stepped in and said we had to do X. So this is X. And if we don't do X, it's going to beat us or it's going to hurt us. So we're going to do X. We're going to need this mental disorder. We're going to need these behaviors. We're going to need these beliefs. And the subconscious mind makes a cocktail and throws it all in there and it stirs the pot. And it goes there. Now we're safe. This will keep us safe. The subconscious mind is really stupid. And it throws it out there and it has the system now. Now, while you are living with the abuser, probably your parents, you're going, yeah, this will keep me safe. And then you go out and get a job and you're still in the same system that your parents created for you. So you go to church, you go to your job. It all revolves around the same abusive system, a place where your identity cannot live. That's why you feel empty. That's why you feel dead inside. That's why you feel like you're screaming in the middle of a room and no one can hear you. Because your identity has been bound, gagged, chained to the floor and thrown into the fourth level of your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind keeps that operation going, reinforcing it day after day after day. And that system hurts the identity, but it's trying to keep you safe because it's trying to do the job of the logical conscious awareness. But the logical conscious awareness, you, is taking a vacation. You're not stepping up. You're unaware because the education system in this country sucks. So you don't know. I mean, it really sucks. So the conscious awareness is really dumbed down. And the identity is absolutely lost to the world. And she cannot get out. To thine own self be true. I'm going to say it so many more times. To thine own self be true. It's your intuition. It's why I teach meditation every morning. Because you need to open that conversation with your subconscious mind and your identity. So you can tell your subconscious mind to shut up and sit down. So you can turn down that dial, so you can turn off the fear system. So you can turn on the defense system. So you can awaken the identity and bring it out into the sunlight. Because the identity is pure sunlight and love and intuition. And she is. I see you. Every time I look at a person, I see right past their subconscious mind and I see their identity. So every time I hug somebody, I say to them, I see you. You are loved. You are accepted. And you are safe. I do too. Every time I hug anyone, those are the words I say. And I give them my energy. This is all consensual, by the way. Like every time I meet somebody, I have to ask them, may I hug you? It's an energy exchange. Hugging me is like having sex. It really is. Now I understand why. And I would wrap my body around them and I would just give them my energy. And I would say to them, I see you. You're safe. You are accepted and you are loved. And my energy wraps around their energy. Yeah, I've had a lot of people just cry when I hug them. And I don't know how to hug anyone any other way. I don't believe we hug enough. I believe hugging will cure the world, especially when you do it my way. I believe hugging will cure the world. I'm that person that walks around going, free hugs. Always. I love giving out free hugs. I have not hugged anyone since my rape. I have too many walls up. My hugs have been muted and silent and dead to the world. I have been cold too long. And it's time I warm up. When you think, you open up your mind to listen. It's all about the pursuit of the self. That's all we're doing here, the pursuit of the self. There are days where I look at myself and I just go, is this really me? Yes, it's really me. And it blows my mind away. The person I am today is the woman I have been staring at in a vision for 43 years. 43 years ago, I saw this and I thought, I want her. I want to be her. Interview with a vampire, those words really stuck hard with me. I want her. I wanted to be her. And I went, I get it. I know what that feels like. I wanted to be her. And I threw it all away. I did not believe I could ever get here. And then I met Juanito and he looked at me. And when he looked at me, he saw this. And I remembered, oh yeah, that's who I wanted to be. And I manifested that shit. I went, oh hell, I'm going to be her. I'm going to manifest that shit. And I did, which is why I'm now her. And her, me, requires all these different outlets to give myself a psychologically safe place for each part of my identity to step out and reveal itself safely to you. So I have meditation for beginners. I have shifting perspectives. I have psych soup. I have my master classes. I have the witch's corner, and I have the subconscious dialogues. Because I understand the value of saving space for every type of personality and part that I am. And I'm huge on organization and compartmentalization. So that's why I have so many different podcasts. And it allows me to just open up and explore each and every one of them. And the people who like shifting perspectives might not like Witch's Corner. And the people who like Witch's Corner might not like Meditation for Beginners. Like, I get it. These are my theatrical people. These are the people who love drama, who love a one-woman show where I stand up with a microphone and I talk to you about Doctor Who for 30 minutes. That's you people. These are the theater people. These are the ones who love and tap into the theater and the drama and the performance. And that's really it. It's all about how do you like your story? And that's it. That's communication. That's story. Do you like your story divvied out in ethereal language? Do you want to talk astrology? Do you want to talk spirituality? Do you want to talk about visions and hypotheses? And do you want to just tap into the intuition and let the motivation just go completely in that direction? Or do you prefer the story of the stage, where I present to you in full dramatics the dialogue that takes place between the subconscious mind and the identity, the id? And then shifting perspectives. I get to step into the role of the philosopher and just think. And then when I do my master classes, I get to take on the role of the professor. Oh my God, I love that role. That is a role I never thought I would have. I felt it. I was recording my lesson class yesterday and I stepped into the role and I felt it. And I went, whoa, I am a professor at a college giving a lecture. Wow. I have always wanted to do that. And I never thought I could do it. I never thought I would have the ability to do it. And there I was, delivering a lecture. And my God, I connected with myself. I found another part of myself. I felt it bubble up and give rise and give name to it because I defined more of my identity. Because I did, because I do, because I act, literally and metaphorically. And that's it. The more you define your identity, the more you encompass and embody yourself, the more you step into your intuition, and the more you enter the knowing. My God, I wish I had an audience of 2 million. Everyone needs to learn this. I'm going to manifest that shit. Because if you can understand this, and you can, you will rise up and awaken. You will rise up and awaken because this is conscious awareness. That's the door. That's the door. So now I need to stand on the outside of that door and sell it to you. You want to go into this door because in this door is conscious awareness. You're going to level up. You're going to learn how to do manifestation. You're going to learn how to do perspective shifts. You're going to see a perspective that is so abstract that it's going to flip you on your ass. And you got to start shifting your perspectives. And I know how to do it. But good God damn it, we all got to work together. You all got to get on board with this. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's going to be a lot of people who get left behind, and that's okay. there is going to become a massive gap. There's going to become a massive divide. Intelligent and unintelligent. Just like the Neanderthal, they're going to go extinct and die out. And these people will become intelligent. And people are going to have to start taking sides. Intelligence or unintelligent. You're going to start taking sides. And when you take a side, you're going to realize once you cross over into the world of intelligence, you're going to look back and suddenly talking to that is going to be beneath you. Having sex with it is going to be unimaginable because you have leveled up your game. That's the difference. There's going to be a divide. There's going to be a gap. It's not a class system. It's not poverty versus wealthy. It's not men versus women. It's uneducated versus educated. And the uneducated are going to mock the educated because that's what they do. They're Neanderthals. And that's just it. Is if you're dabbling in manifestation, you're already trying to cross over. I am the bridge. I'm the one standing here going, I've built a bridge so you can just come over. But you got to cross the bridge. Because I was there and I wanted to be here. And I don't like doing things twice or difficult. So I made a bridge. So this is my bridge, the healing garden, where you walk from that plane of existence to this plane of existence. And it's going to completely change your life. My recommendation, share it with your loved ones. Share it with your loved ones. All of my free material is 100% shareable. Just cite my work. I absolutely encourage you. If there's somebody you know and you go, oh my God, you got to watch me, please share my work. If it's free, share it. If it's not free, get in line. I'm good at shit. It shouldn't be done for free when you're good at shit. Atlas Shrugged. Okay, that's not in Atlas Shrugged, but it should be. But it should be. The metaphorical, allegorical meaning was there behind Ayn Rand's words. It should be. Perspective. That's really what I'm playing around here with. And I have many, many perspectives. And sometimes I like to stand in the perspective of the actress. You know, I love Jules Verne. No, it wasn't Jules Verne. H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells. You know, for the longest time, people would ask me, if you could sit down with anyone in the world who's dead and ask them a question, who would it be? H.G. Wells. Why? Because he never named any of his actors. He never once named any of his characters. One time he named his character. You want to know what he named? He named the Invisible Man. The one person that didn't have a face, he gave a name to. Everybody else got faces, but they didn't get names. What the fuck, H.G. Wells? It bothers me. It made me dive really deep into identity. H.G. Wells did this to me. I was reading War of the Worlds, and I got halfway through the book, and I went, what is this man's name? I have no idea what this character's name is. And I reread the book. No name. He has no name. It's all first person point of view. And the entire thing is spoken through the narrative of a man. And you don't know his name. Oh, that bothered me. And then I read The Time Traveler. Oh, yeah, The Time Machine. That's right. I read The Time Machine. And in the very beginning, you have the architect, the philosopher, the actor, the scientist, the archaeologist. That's their names. And they all have this massive debate. Oh my God, I loved it. And I'm going, no one has a name? And the time traveler goes back in time. And I'm going, you have no name. No one has a name in the time machine. No one has a name. No one has a name in War of the Worlds. But then I pick up the Invisible Man. Oh, he gives him a name, all right. It's Griffin. Griffin. But he doesn't give him a face. He doesn't give him a face. So I have no idea what Griffin looks like. And I'm going, damn it. Can I have a face, please? Can I have a name? And I took it to that next level of why. Why does this bother me? Why does not having a name bother me so much? Because it was a cry out to my subconscious mind going, I've buried your identity and you don't know it. So when my identity read these books by H.G. Wells, my identity waved red flags at me going, hey, I'm here. I have an identity too that you don't own. And I didn't pick it up. It just bothered me. It bothered me because identity was talking about. Identity went down into my intuition and she shook the tree and she screamed at me, hey, I am nameless. Look at me. Name. And I just read through H.G. Wells and I went, that's important somehow. And I don't know why, but it's really bothering me. Well, now I know it's because my identity was using H.G. Wells to try and communicate to me, hey, I don't have a name. And I really need you to give me my name because I'm here and I exist. But subconscious mind has crammed me into a hole. So I have the actress and I have the philosopher. And I have the psychologist. And I have the hippie. And I have the witch. And we all take turns sharing our platform, defining our identity, defining ourselves, stepping out into our comfort zone, stepping out into the sunlight and giving ourselves a name, saying we are here. I have found something. It's huge, and I really want to share it with you because it can lead to world peace. It really can. And I know how. Operation Imagination. Go to my website. It's there. Operation Imagination. www.annashealinggarden.org. Operation Imagination. Click on that. Read. World peace is very, very probable. But we got to rise up. We got to rise up. Yeah, so that's really what I'm doing here. Operation World Peace. I got tired of the way the world was, so I changed it. And I'm over here now living this really awesome world going, dudes, I need people. I really want company for this. I really want to show you the way I live because goddamn is it awesome. But you've got to get out. You've got to free your identity. I could sit there and bitch all day long about how the society has done this to us, how our parents and our abusers have done this to us. That's a distraction. The real enemy is your subconscious mind. Do not lie to yourself. You can blame your abusers all you want, but your abusers are long gone. No one is pointing a gun at your head telling you you have to stay inside the patriarchy. That's a delusion. That's the matrix. Step out of the matrix. It's just your subconscious mind that is your enemy now. Once you realize that, you're home free. What I recommend to you is make a pact with your loved ones. Let them know you're going to cross over. And the perspective is going to be so drastic that you might realize you never loved your loved ones to begin with. That's the real truth of it. That you never loved your loved ones after all. That's the real horror of waking up. Realizing that you've been partnered with the wrong person the entire time. All of the pledges of love that you gave them, only to find out that you never loved them at all to begin with. They were just enabling your fear and control. Yeah, It's a wake-up call. And the thing is, if you swear loyalty to your loved one, you have not sworn loyalty to your frequency and your identity. And that's really what has to take place. On my Facebook page, I tell a story about a person who climbs Mount Everest, and they bleed and they cut and they suffer and they starve as they climb the mountain. But they finally get to the mountain, and they've been climbing it for years. They've been alone, and they've been freezing, and they've been burning, and they're starving. And they get to the top finally, and there's a cave with a woman out front. I'm the woman, because it's my story. And they say, "Oh my God, I'm bleeding. I'm starving. Can I go in and warm myself?" And the wise woman says, "Oh, you can go in, absolutely, but you have to leave them behind." And she points to all their loved ones and all their possessions, everything. You can go in, but you cannot take them with you. And your first thought is, well, I vowed, no, I won't. So you sit down and you continue to suffer. You continue to starve. You continue to bleed. You continue to freeze. And you're cold and you're hungry, but you're loyal to them. So you don't leave them. And you feel yourself dying, and you think, maybe I'll go back down the mountain, but you've come too far. You can't go back. You are past the point of no return. Now I know why that song haunted me for decades. You are past the point of no return. The final threshold. And you finally get to that moment of pure suffering and loss, where you realize that if you do not surrender your loyalty to your people, then the self itself will die. Now you have to choose between your loved ones and yourself. And when you finally reach that point of suffering, you break the loyalty, you protect the self, and you walk into the cave. And when you step into the cave, you are warmed and you are instantly healed. And you realize that your loyalty should have been to yourself and your frequency the entire time. That your loyalty to your loved ones is what's holding you back, killing you, in fact. That if every person just remains loyal to themselves and their own frequency, everything will just fall into place. Click, 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 click. And everyone who is supposed to be with everyone gets with everybody. You stop chasing love. You stop chasing money. You stop chasing everything because you are aligned. This is manifestation. But you have to give up your loyalty to everything else and put it where it belongs. I had no one when I was 5. Just me. So I figured it out when I was 5. And I figured it out when I was 10 and when I was 15. Because I didn't have family. Because I didn't have anybody. I just had myself. And because I had a loyalty only to myself, I could manifest shit like crazy. And I did. I lost my loyalty to myself when I got married. See how that works? Instantly, I was plunged into severe depression and social anxiety for 20 years. And it took me 20 years to get back out, to realize that I needed to not be loyal to a husband or to a lover or to anybody else, that I needed to be loyal again to myself. And I thought back to the time when I was a child and how I was able to manifest then, how I was able to manifest my entire life, and what was the difference? The difference was loyalty to the self. that once you gain that loyalty to yourself, the world is free to figure that shit all out on its own. And it does, because I trusted that it could take care of itself. I trusted that the universe could just figure its own shit out, and that it really did not need my ego to tell it how to be a universe. So you see, when we are trying to control, it's because we're actually saying to the universe, hey, you, universe, are clueless and you have no idea what you're doing. I know better than you, so I'm going to step in and take charge for you. That's really what you're telling the universe. Are we really that egotistical and arrogant? Yes, we are, actually. Narcissists are the worst. So that when you finally reach that point where you turn your loyalty in toward yourself, you let go of the ego, and you say to the universe, you know what? You know how to be a universe. You know how to fix the flow and the frequency. You just do you. I am going to just focus on myself and my own power. And that is when manifestation just opens up to you. And suddenly you have all this control. You have all of the power to literally just let the universe, it's micromanaging. There, that's my summation. I'm done here. Drop mic. It's micromanaging. You are micromanaging the frequency. And manifestation is when you stop micromanaging everything and you just focus on managing your own self, your own identity. That's why you step into that cave. That is why you step into that cave. It's absolutely extraordinary. It's when everything just kind of clicks into place and everything falls into alignment. That's the frequency. That's identity. Yeah. It's when you surrender your need to control. And people, I have people who constantly message me about manifestation and I just don't know how to work, and they're so uptight. And dude, you're never going to get there because you haven't done the work. You have to identify yourself. This is a voyage. This is a journey about you and yourself and understanding how the energy pool works. And if you're manifesting, focused on gaining, the universe knows it's being controlled and manipulated. The universe does not cooperate with us when it knows it's being controlled and manipulated. It doesn't work that way. And it knows that. You can't bullshit the universe. You have to have perspective shifts that take you from 360 to 180. You have to completely change your point of view. You have to leave the patriarchy. You have to completely step out of the system. You have to shift your perspective so greatly that all you see is loyalty to the self. But we are hardwired abusively in our system to label that as being selfish. That's the problem. That's selfish. We have so much guilt bombarding us, so much shame being thrown onto us because we refuse to be loyal to the self. Our whole system is built and designed. Our religions are built and designed to shame us into giving our loyalty to a god, to a parent, giving our loyalty to politics, giving our loyalty to the government, to the military, to the army, giving our loyalty to the president, giving our loyalty to the flag. I refuse to say the pledge. I do not do the Pledge of Allegiance because my allegiance is to myself. And there are names, there are labels, and there are slanderous gaslighting put in place to completely shame me because I refuse to pledge allegiance to anything but the self, because I know that the self is the core to escaping fear and control. And that when I focus all of that attention and allegiance onto myself, onto my identity, to thine own self be true. Now my frequency works. Now my manifestation works. Now I can say, I want to sell out my program on Monday. Now I can say, I want financial freedom. Now I can say, I want my dream relationship. And I want these things because my allegiance is to myself. Because once I have them, I know what I'm going to do with them, and I want that. And I can want now, which is a complete celebration of the self without any guilt, without any interference from the subconscious mind. That's how manifestation works. It is literally complete and pure freedom. But in order to gain your full freedom, you have to allow the allowance, the vortex, everybody else to be free. And that's the problem. That's where everyone's trying to control everybody else, everything else. And if you're trying to control here, then you're not controlling here. But if you focus on controlling here by giving your loyalty to yourself, then you kind of don't give a shit what everybody else does, because you're not part of that. You are your whole now. You're only concerned with your system. That is when true individual power opens up to you. That is true individual power. Yeah. I see you. I am going to go ahead and get ready for my interview. I have to go check in, so I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter, and take a look over on my Facebook page. That is where all my news announcements and all my blasting goes out. So thank you so much for joining me, and may the kindest of words always find you.